Hello everyone, welcome on in. It is a different time, but it's still betting weekly game bet match. We're coming to you on a Saturday afternoon, just as the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League, which is not good for me. But anyway, I'm delighted to say joining me is my co-host, our senior ATP Tour handicapper, Sean Calvert. Before I introduce you to Sean, please may I ask you a big favour. Just hit the subscribe button. Be really good for us. Want to get as many subscribers as we can. Hit the like, give some comments as well. Give us your best bets, how you've found the shows, how you've been winning some money. And a man who has been winning some money, especially on the early part of this week, is Sean Calvert. Good afternoon, Sean. How you doing, mate?
All right, thank you. Yeah, not too bad. It's surviving. It's Lagan's 11 plus test day today, so it's been a bit hectic, but yeah, I'm all right, thank you.
Surviving a week which started off really good. We had a sweep on the first week. Give a little bit of it back the following day, but
very unlucky,
nice profit so far. Yeah, but I'm unlucky, but you ride your own luck. We're in profit. We're in profit this week for the Asian swing. And we've now reached the quarterfinal stage in the two tournaments. What's your take out of on the week so far? Anything you're looking at?
Well, I'm slightly annoyed about the Taro Daniil thing. I said he's probably gonna make the final this week. I took him to win the opening set, lost the opening set, won the next two. Something he's only done 11% of the time in his career, and so that was a little bit unlucky. And the other one was Jerry Shang, 1 point away from being 5-2 double breakup in the first set, which is the one we wanted him to win against Nakashima. Ended up losing that set. Didn't take the break point, got broken in the next game. So a little bit unlucky there, I thought. Case of right working out, wrong result, unfortunately. But yeah, conditions in Chengdu are quick. It's pretty lively over in Hangzhou as well. Not quite as quick, but still, lively conditions. Hot, humid, nice few underdog winners going in. So yeah, it's all good.
What's the weather been? It's been a bit of a mixed bag. Looking good today, tomorrow?
Sunday, it's going to be cooler for sure. There's quite a bit of rain around sort of overnight tonight, early morning, local time. I think it then peters out, so you've got basically a cloudy day. No more than 21 degrees. I mean, it'll feel hotter than that with the humidity, but a cool day by sort of Chengdu standards. Weather's slightly different in Hangzhou. I'll come on to that in a minute. But yeah, it looks like it should be okay for play tomorrow. No, it doesn't look like the rain's going to wipe it out, that's for sure. It should be fine.
Now, the action starts at 1 a.m., the early hours of Sunday morning, Eastern time. So when we do give you these previews, make sure you head across to Bet Rivers, download the app, have a bet on the selections we have for you. If you do have a bet, you'll be able to live stream the match. Something my wife always likes to do when 1 o'clock in the morning I've had a bet. She loves it when I live stream at something on the mobile phone or on the laptop about 3:30. She absolutely loves it. In the morning, she says to me, Nigel, that was such a nice sleep I had last night where you were live streaming, watching that 250 event in China. She loves it. Hopefully anyone else's wife loves it. But we've got two matches for you tomorrow. As I say, the action starts at 1 a.m. Eastern time. But our first match is the second match on court. So this one will be live around about 2:30 a.m. Eastern time. It's the match between two Americans, Brandon Nakashima up against Marcus Giron. Brandon Nakashima, a bit fortunate in his last match, as you said there. He's up against his fellow countryman, and he's a very, very heavy favourite. I'm a bit surprised by these odds. Minus 265 for Nakashima, plus $2 for Marcus Giron. Spread 2.5. Total here is 23.5. The pair of them have met 3 times previously. Once on the main tour, which was in San Diego, which Nakashima won 6-4, 6-4 back in 2022, and then 2 in challenger events in 2020, which Giron won one and Nakashima won the other. But on the course of this year, their form is pretty similar. They're both not far off each other in the world rankings. Obviously, Nakashima is just outside the top 30 and Giron is a top 50 player. Giron likes it fast. I'm surprised here, Sean, that we could get this price on Giron. And currently, it's the best price available in the land for Giron, $2 with Bet Rivers.
Yeah, it just doesn't look right, does it? Just looking at it, you just think, what, Nakashima, minus 265. Just looks short. I mean, they're both from Southern California. They know each other very well, practiced a lot together. They know what to expect, no surprises. Nakashima has led the head-to-head 109-91 in terms of service points won and return points won totals. Well ahead in every department, but it doesn't count that 2020 exhibition level COVID time one that Giron won. Also on a hard court, it was only slight underdog there, 11-10, 2.1 plus 110. I guess, in US odds. So, and now it's plus 200. And both the wins for Nakashima came in slow conditions. San Diego was slow. Indian Wells Challenger is slow. Nakashima, for me, a better player in slower conditions. Certainly a better clay court player for me than Giron. There's a lot of that's one factor, and the other factor is Giron's going to be fresh here. I think he'll be fresher than Nakashima because he's had a poor season, and this is why the Asian swing is often profitable because players are coming in with poor form. They can shrug it off like Tabilo has, like Giron seems to have done so far, and they won't have much accumulated fatigue in their legs. He's only played 41 matches this season. Nakashima's played 51, not massively more, but a decent amount. And Giron has a habit of upsetting players when he's this sort of priced underdog. His price has actually moved out since the opening show, but I'm talking about opening shows here. Giron's won 5 of his last 9 main level matches when he's been priced up between plus 140 and plus 180, which is what he was priced up for this. And in his career as a whole, he's won 19 and lost 22 in this price range. So if you just blindly bet him every match of his career when he's been in this price range, you'd be in a very decent profit, I would suggest, short term and long term. He's also played well on this swing before, not particularly in China, but he's made the semis in Tokyo in the 500 there as a qualifier. So he won quite a few matches there. That was 2023, a couple of years ago. And as you said, he does prefer the quick conditions Giron, and here we have altitude, outdoor hardcore altitude. It is pretty lively. Another element is that Nakashima is not the most reliable favourite. He's lost 5 of his last 11 main level matches when he's been priced up between minus 250 and minus 200. So you've got 2 players with differing results in this sort of price range. Nakashima would have cost you money if you'd bet him in this price range. Giron would have made you money if you bet him in this price range. And we know Giron's got the quality to beat a player. Certainly got the quality to beat a player of Nakashima's ability. But look at what these guys have both done against the current top 20 in the world. Their win rate is almost identical. Giron 32%, Nakashima 33%. So very little between them there when it comes to playing against the very best players in the world. And Giron's suddenly found a groove again, as players can do in this Asian swing. Taro Daniil is obviously one example. Tabilo another example. Giron hasn't been broken yet. Hasn't lost his serve in Chengdu this week. I think he's only faced 3 break points across 2 matches. All right, Sonego was a little bit injured, but even so, it's a good confidence boost for Giron. It just feels a bit big, plus 200 to me, with all those factors. And I think I'm definitely going to take a chance on Giron plus 200. I just think it's too big. Nakashima might well win this match, but minus 265. I don't think that's a fair assessment of the 2 players' abilities when they're both in good form. Giron's not been in good form up until now, but things change in the Asian swing.
Yeah. $2. I was on Betting Weekly Live with Mitch Michaels the other day, and I was really impressed with you. And after the round 1, I thought he could go on and win the tournament. And
it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, this is a big price, I think, plus $2. So there is our first bet, Marcus Giron, the official play at $2. As I said, I think that's probably the best price around for the American in this match. So if you do want to take that price, you need to get on it quick. If it does move, Sean, which I think there may be a possibility by the time this show goes live, that price might move. If it got down to plus 180, would you still suggest people play?
Yeah.
Is there a line that you say, don't go any lower than that?
I think so, yeah. I think plus 180 would be okay. From the opening show, his price has gone right out Giron to this point now where he's at plus $2. It might come back in to more like what it was originally, but yeah, I'd still play at that price, yeah.
Yeah, have a look out for that one. That may move that price there. It's 2:20, 2:30 that time, Eastern time, on Sunday morning. The second match on court over in Chengdu. The first match on court at 1 a.m. Eastern time is the next match we are going to discuss. It's the match between Christopher O'Connell and Alejandro Tabilo. Now, these two actually met last week in the Hangzhou Challenger in the semi-final stage, and O'Connell had to pull out, retired in the match. Tabilo won it, and it went down as a win for him, and he's now his head-to-head is 3-0 over Christopher O'Connell. Tabilo has been in good form this week, some good wins, but so has O'Connell. Beat Quinton Halys, beat Zhu in the last round. If you look at the ranking, there's not hardly anything between them again. 103, just outside the 100 for Christopher O'Connell. He's actually the higher ranked opponent. And Tabilo is plus 112. I suppose people are looking at that injury last week, but there's no sign of it here. O'Connell's plus 148. Tabilo is minus 186. Spread is 2.5. And total here is 23.5. There's an overwhelming head-to-head in favour of Tabilo. There's a win from a retirement last week. That is why the price is minus 186. But have you seen anything this week that could suggest that O'Connell can overturn that head-to-head record?
Yeah, possibly. I don't think it's a great matchup for him, but he has been playing well. As you said, it's a repeat of last week's match when O'Connell retired, and that's the issue that he's had a lot this season. An awful lot of injuries, different injuries as well. It was the abs a month or two ago. Now it was the back. Seemed fine in his 2 matches here, though. So we can assume that he's okay, but he has always got a bit of a question mark over him. He's a bit brittle in that sense. O'Connell has been lately. But let's call that match a loss to Tabilo. That was his 9th loss in a row against left-handers at all levels, not just main level. And you can kind of see why it could be an issue for him, because O'Connell, if you've not seen him play, he's a single-handed backhand. And we know that they can be in trouble against attacking lefties that can be rushed on that side. Tsitsipas being the obvious example. And an attacking lefty, you can just pepper that side and then go down the line. It's not often a great matchup for a single-hander, and he's certainly had problems, O'Connell, with Tabilo in the past. The head-to-head across all their matches is 106.5 to 93.5 are in favour of Tabilo. And O'Connell's winning only 41% of second serve points across those 2 and a bit matches. Tabilo 53%. So it's been a good matchup. I mean, Tabilo holds serve 82% of the time in this matchup. O'Connell 71%. So on the bare statistics, you would quite fancy Tabilo here. I just think minus 186 is a little bit short. He was in decimal. He was 1.86. Minus 116, roughly, that is in US. So he's minus 116 favourite, Tabilo, last week. And now he's minus 186. I'm not sure that's quite right. Bearing in mind, O'Connell does like the quick conditions. His record here is impressive. 5 wins, 2 losses. Service points won and return points won, total of 104. Played very well against Halys. Took care of Zhu as well, pretty comfortably. And Tabilo's now the one that's played quite a lot of tennis, in the last sort of week or two. It might be him that's struggling a little bit physically. I think Tabilo will probably win it, assuming he's fit, but I wouldn't back him at minus 186. I would probably take the overs here, given how O'Connell is playing really well. I do expect this to be quite close. Over 2.5 sets is interesting, plus 131. That is with Bet Rivers, or you can take the set one over 10.5 games at plus 165. I think those are the 2 areas that I would look to attack this. I think it'll be close. Tabilo should edge it, but I wouldn't bet him at minus 186.
So no official play on this match, just the first one so far, just the match that we had.
Just the first one
with
so
Giron,
far, yeah.
Okay, so there is a couple of angles in. Bet Rivers have about 44 different markets on these 500 matches. And if you do, 250 matches, and if you do have a bet on any of those markets, you'll be able to live stream this match, as I said earlier. And if you do like these shows, remember you can subscribe to the Betting Weekly newsletter and the Betting Weekly Insider, which came out on Friday with a Ryder Cup preview. And we'll be back again on Monday with more picks, exclusive picks from the handicapping team here on App Because We Win. You can subscribe to that for free at thebettingweeklystudios.com. Now, there is another tournament over in China this week. It's in Hangzhou, and there are 2 quarterfinals there, which we are going to discuss now. And one of them, we have an invested interest in already, because our tournament pick, Tomas Martin Etcheverry, is in action, and he's a favourite up against Corentin Moutet. The line here will show you that Etcheverry is minus 132, but he's actually... minus 125. He's actually been bet. He's changed it. He's minus 132, Etcheverry. Plus 106 for Quentin Moutet. 1.5 in the spread, and 23.5 is the total. Again, a very high number on the total. If you look at the head-to-head record, it's good for our man, Etcheverry. He leads 2-0, both already this year. 1 in Rio, 1 in Monte Carlo, and Etcheverry has won them both. So that's a good omen against a Quentin Moutet, who's played Davis Cup, maybe a little bit tired, come through a tough match against Kazoo in the last round. Etcheverry looking good for our outright pick.
He is looking good. I'm just trying to find the current price, actually, because this is definitely different to what it was about an hour or so ago when I looked at this. It was basically a pick'em.
No, big move for Etcheverry, minus 132 now.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. What I'm going to say is probably slightly irrelevant in the sense, but because of the price. But the point is, I do like our man's chances here. I mean, he should be far fresher than Moutet. Far fresher. I watched Moutet today against I can't remember who was playing now. Who was
Kazu.
Kazu, yeah. My memory is shocking.
Who said that?
Arthur Kazu, yeah. I mean, Etcheverry's played a couple of quick matches here. You know, he's barely broken sweat. He's not really got out of sort of second gear so far. 2 hours, 45 minutes. Etcheverry's been on court. Moutet's match against Kazu was 3 hours 50 in one match. Now, if you include Davis Cup as well, which they both played last week, but Moutet had much the tougher time of it. I mean, he won, so he's in great mood, but big effort. He's if you include Davis Cup, he's played 9.5 hours in the last week or so. Etcheverry's only played 4 hours 50. So much less tennis in his legs as far as Etcheverry is concerned. Moutet 3 hours 50 today, and he's I think this is first on, isn't it? Tomorrow, second on.
Yeah, it's their first on.
Yeah, he's not got that. I think this is where this move's coming from, really. They're head to head as well, but the fact that it is such a tight turnaround from playing almost 4 hours on top of all the Davis Cup, which was on clay, Moutet as well. So a lot of long points. And they're head to head. I know it's on clay, but Moutet is a very, very good operator on clay. Overwhelming, really, in favour of Etcheverry. 110-90 in terms of service points won and return points won across their two meetings. Etcheverry dominating on serve, really, winning 75% of his first serve points and holding 88% of the time on clay, and not particularly quick clay. I think one of them was Monte Carlo, wasn't it? Not the quickest of conditions, and Moutet really struggling on return, only winning 31% on return. So I can see where this move's coming from. I was going to suggest that if you weren't on the Etcheverry outright, then back him here at the price that he initially was. Obviously, that avenue has now been closed to me, but yeah, I mean, Etcheverry looks confident, in great form, which is kind of how I hoped he would be. You know, he has looked a lot better in recent times, particularly the Davis Cup as well. As I said, changed his coach, new ideas. He's not sitting still and thinking, oh yeah, I'm sort of comfortable top 50-ish. That'll do for me. Not a bit of it. And he'll fancy this. He's beaten Moutet a couple of times. He should have the legs on him. So yeah, plenty of reasons to be positive about Etcheverry's chances here. As I said, I would be tempted to even double up on him if you got the price that he was about an hour or two ago. But yeah, it's moved a little bit now, unfortunately.
Well, you won't believe this. While we've been recording this, I've got the Bet Rivers website up now, and he was minus 125. Then he moved to minus 132. The current price of Thomas Martin Etcheverry is minus 152. Corentin Moutet is plus 123 live, and it's moved to a 1.5 handicap, and it's minus 122 Etcheverry. So a massive gamble on Thomas Martin Etcheverry. I don't think there's any chance at all you're going to get back to even money, but hopefully if you took it was 30-1, wasn't it, at the start of the tournament?
33s, I think. Certainly somewhere about that. I mean, maybe someone's seen Moutet hobbling around after his 4 hours of play today. I think it's a tough situation for Moutet. Yeah, obviously I can't recommend him now given that price, but confident about Etcheverry winning, and he's got a decent chance now. Because if you look at this draw, which I've got here, the fact that Rublev lost today, I mean, if he wins this, he'll have a semi-final against Tien and Royer. I mean, Royer's playing fabulously well. Really interesting match that'll be. The aggression of Royer just goes for everything. Big power against the counter-puncher in Tien. I think that'll be a really interesting match. Wouldn't be betting Tien as favourite there, given the way Royer's playing at the moment. And so, if Etcheverry beats Moutet, he'll obviously have one of those two for a place in the final. So, don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think it's a decent situation for our guy. Yeah.
Looking good for Thomas Martin Etcheverry on the outright market. Not looking so good if you missed the outright market and you want to get involved now. Minus 152, one of the biggest moves on the week so far on Thomas Martin Etcheverry to win his quarterfinal against an exhausted Corentin Moutet, you would have thought. Okay, let's move on to our last match. And this is one of the later games. This one will be about 4:30 tomorrow morning Eastern time. It's the match between Daniil Medvedev against Yibing Wu. Medvedev, obviously, not having his best of season, well, probably his worst season ever on tour, but he has got a 2-0 winning record against Wu, including a very comprehensive 6-3, 6-2 win in Washington this year in quick conditions in round 16. Wu beat Manarino, Wu beat Korda, and Medvedev put a bit of a losing run together with a win over Basavaredi in the round of 16. If you look at the odds here, you can get minus 335 for Medvedev, plus 255 for Wu. Spread is 3.5, and the total here is 21.5. Medvedev, bad year, not so great. Wu playing in front of his big support. Could there be a shock here?
I don't think so. I don't think this is a great matchup at all for Yibing Wu. The reason I think that he doesn't really have that many layers to his game. He's really interesting to watch, great to watch, entertaining to watch. Goes for everything. Probably a bit too much at times. That match against Mannarino, we got away with that one. Really, he should never have won that. It hit something like 50 unforced errors, just shy of 50 unforced errors in the first two sets. Wu. Mannarino should have actually won that in straight sets, but Wu managed to turn it around. He doesn't like coming into the net, Wu. He just operates pretty much. I mean, he does if he absolutely has to, but he's not keen like most of these players, most of these baseliners. You know, the weapons that he has, he probably fancies his chances of hitting through most people, but Medvedev's not most people. I just think it's an easier matchup for Medvedev rather than against players that do come into the net. Because Medvedev can just hang around as he likes to behind the baseline and just soak up everything, knowing that he's probably not going to get too many drop shots. It's just going to be Wu trying to hit through him, which is very, very difficult to do. And he'll have to play an extremely clean match, Wu, to win. I mean, I can't see him win it. He'd have to play unbelievably clean to win it. I mean, he is very hit and miss. That's the problem. When he's on, he's very, very good. But the unforced errors, as I mentioned about the Mannarino match, they can come in big clusters. You know, he can be. You watch him for a couple of games and he's great. You think, well, this guy's set for the very top. You know, a couple of minutes later, he's at about 15 unforced errors, and you know, he's down a break. The other factor that would worry me here about betting Wu in this match is that he's played two long matches anyway to get here. The long one against Mannarino and the other one against Korda. I think a matchup against Korda would suit him more because Korda likes to go for it as well. Whereas Medvedev is just going to make him play ball after ball after ball after ball, which is what he's done in the matchup so far. You know, the 5 sets they've contested, not really been close. And as I said, 2 long matches, very injury prone. Yibing Wu is lacking that sort of match fitness. He hasn't had a period where he's been playing week after week after week after week for quite a long time. And Medvedev looked very good against Basavaredi, but you would have to say it's a different opponent, very different style of opponent. Yibing Wu, much more firepower than Basavaredi. Wu will probably have his moments in this, just because of the pure ball striking. But I'd be very surprised if he could stay consistent enough to beat Medvedev without the variety in his game. He's just going to try and beat him from the baseline, which is, I'm not liking his chances. I'm slightly tempted with unders here. Under 21.5 is minus 107. I'd probably take a chance on that. That's probably where I go in this. I can't see Wu winning this unless Medvedev has one of his shockers. He looked pretty good. I think he said he'd been working really, really hard with his new coaching setup. He said he's really pleased with that. The quick conditions do suit him. I would expect Medvedev to win this pretty comfortably. I'd lean for the under 21.5, I think, here.
Yeah, when they met in Washington, only 17 games was the total, 6-3, 6-2. And then when they won at the US Open in 2022, obviously Medvedev was a very different player then. It was 6-4, 6-2, 6-2. So the total games there came in at 26. So both of them really covered the unders. Under 21.5 is the lean from Sean. And only one official play, and that is in the first match, or the second match on court tomorrow, but our first match we previewed here over in Chengdu. And our official play tomorrow is Sean.
I'll have to bring it back up on my little list here. Yeah, over in Chengdu, the official play, Marcos Giron. Hopefully you can get plus $2 by the time this show goes live. If not, you should get somewhere pretty close to that. So him to beat Nakashima.
Yeah, Nakashima against Giron is our only official play, and obviously head across to the Bettors website. These line movements, they move quite a lot over in the Asian swing, so make sure you head across there and getting early, get your value nice and early. If you've been following our picks on this channel since the start of the year, you'll be in 14.64 units in profit. So hopefully we can add a lot to that with Etcheverry. That's our big cheer for the weekend. Now, myself and Sean will not be back now until probably Tuesday. Obviously, there's some tournaments. There's two 500s next week, in Tokyo and Beijing, but they start on Wednesday. So we'll be back on Tuesday, more than likely, to go through those matches, look at the outright markets as well. But if you want tennis fix, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, Betting Weekly Tennis Live is on. I'm not quite sure what's going to be covered on it because there's no WTA events either. So we might have to go to the Challenger events. No, there's no WTA either, so we'll have to have a look. No, there's nothing on there. We'll have to go down to the Challenger events. Yep, look at some Challengers, or maybe previewing some of the futures for the majors coming up as well for next season, or looking at some tournaments coming up and where they go. But anyway, we'll be back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with Betting Weekly Tennis Live. Betting Weekly Live will be all next week from 11 o'clock Eastern Time, with the Ryder Cup takes place next week, and it's going to be a lot of Ryder Cup heavy stuff, and that'll be all over our socials. Simon Holden will be giving you all his best bets on our socials at Because We Win. You can cover them on Twitter and on Instagram on the same handle at Because We Win. That's been it for today. Myself and Sean will be back on Tuesday. Enjoy your weekend. A rare Sunday off tomorrow. You gonna do anything nice tomorrow, Sean? You gonna do anything nice?
I've got Lagan's football. He's back playing football again, so I've got a nice trip to Canvey Island for 10:30 tomorrow morning. So yeah, no, nothing nice.
I'm at a birthday party, so have a happy birthday. Anyone whose birthday's out there, I'm celebrating my friend John's birthday. Sean will be on the sidelines cheering on Lagan, hopefully to a win, and hopefully Thomas Martin Etcheverry will cash for us when we come back on Tuesday. Enjoy your weekend, whatever you do. Good luck with your bets, and we'll speak to you all again soon. Take care.